Oh, hi, what's up? My name is Adrian, and this is my Volvo 940. Yesterday I was with the car on a dyno and we tried to tune it. So I've received a lot of messages on Instagram asking what are the results. So here's the answer. There are none, because once again we ran into some issues. 4 weeks ago we tried to tune the car for the first time, and after over an hour of this car running on idle and revving it, the fuel pump was working fine, no hiccups, no pressure losses, nothing. After we started driving the car, the fuel pump failed, like completely failed, wouldn't start again, it just completely locked. There's no dirt in it, nothing. It was a brand new fuel pump. So we put a stock fuel pump in it to at least drive around and make a base map so I would be able to drive it around, fix all the bugs and then tune it properly again. After we drove for like 10 minutes, we came back to check any leaks and make sure everything is running fine. It turned out that the radiator was shot.
Kurwa, no nie. No kurwa, nie przewidział ktoś, no ja pierdolę.
It had a tiny hole, which was because of my mistake. I mounted the fan a little bit too close and it just drilled a tiny little hole in the radiator. So, what happened yesterday? Basically, everything was running fine, to my surprise. We had some issues with the fourth injector leaking on high boost. But luckily I was able to fix the issue on the spot. But in spite of that, it was working pretty well. No boost leaks, no other leaks. But basically the reason why we weren't able to properly tune the car is the turbo was over boosting. It was hitting 1.6 bar of boost at like 5k RPM. Once we already tried to fix the turbo problem, I noticed that the belts weren't spinning, which was because the pulley got loose and it just fell off. I don't know if you can see it. So it's basically those two things. Gotta tighten the pulley properly with a torque wrench, which I didn't do the first time because I did it a year ago with a normal wrench, not knowing anything about engines back then, and somehow get the turbo wastegate to open more than it did. So this video is gonna be basically just a recap of what I've done to the car since I bought it in December 2018. I've filmed a lot of material of me working on the car. Probably not most of the work I've done to it is filmed, but basically I'll show you all the footage I've got. And in the next video, we're gonna catch up and I'll tell you everything that I still have to redo and fix on the car before we can finally tune it and get it driving and reach my goal of over 250 horsepower. Some people say 300 is easily possible. 250 will be satisfying to me. So I bought the car back in December 2018. After less than 24 hours of owning the car, I drove it straight to Ron Customs, where Dadek welded the diff and cut the springs. After that, we tried to diagnose what's wrong with the engine because it was running weird and smoking a bit. Turned out that the engine was shit and would need a complete rebuild. So at this point my plans of getting a cheap winter beater escalated into building a fucking 300 horsepower drift car. With the help of friends I took the engine apart, deleted some unnecessary things like the LPG installation and ABS.
No to my chyba nie chcieli.
I took the B230 FB engine out, bought a B230 FK engine with a ported head and a M90 gearbox. I put the engine in the car and trailered the incomplete Lego set to Ron Customs, who did all the fabrication and put the car back together. And that's why I don't have any footage of this part of the build, because I didn't do shit on my own. After the car was mechanically ready, it was time for wiring and tune. After the wiring was done, we were supposed to tune the car on the road, 500 kilometers away from my home. But I already told you what happened there.
Kurwa, no nie.
The following week I ordered a new radiator, fuel pump and got a dyno appointment. Since I don't have much clearance between the fan and the pulley, I had to slightly modify the fan so it wouldn't destroy the new radiator. After I changed the fuel pump, I got a brilliant fucking idea to take the car for a spin to check if everything works well before the dyno. Long story short, I cracked the intake manifold because the turbo overboosted. But luckily the next day I found somebody who welded the crack and even added some additional reinforcements. After that incident I decided to not move the car until it's tuned. And now we're back in the present, where after the dyno the car is still not properly tuned and we got a bunch of additional things to fix on the car. But I'll tell you more about that in the next video. This is the first time I made a video of the sort where I talk to the camera, so please let me know what you think about it in the comments and don't hold back, I want some real criticism. Also, I try to post updates on my Instagram whenever I work on the car, so if you're interested go ahead and follow me there. All the links are down in the description. Thank you for watching and see you next time.